Tonight on The Roast, the ACCC slams Australia's airports, Queensland's doctors and nurses are told to stop bagging the government, and Black Caviar is accused of doping. Now the Daily Telegraph will have to strip Black Caviar of her Sportswoman of the Year title and give it to a more deserving woman. For the first time in 5 years, the ACCC has not awarded any of Australia's main airports a rating of good in its annual report. Good, of course, being the benchmark of all travel-related small talk. Hey, how was your flight? Yeah, good. Did you get any good movies? Avengers was pretty good. How was Kingsford Smith International Airport? Meh. Really, so it wasn't good? And none of them were. The least not good airport was Brisbane, which came out on top, whilst Sydney was the biggest loser. Now, across the board, the number one complaint was the cost of parking, but who the hell drives to an airport anymore? Seriously, get a cab, get a train, get a friend, like me. I'll be your friend, anyone's friend. Honestly, if anyone wants to be my friend, I'll happily give you a lift to the airport, anytime. My phone's always on.
No phone's on set, Tom.
Oh yeah, sorry Marty. Beep. Now, the ACCC's report examined a range of topics such as congestion, profitability and spending on infrastructure before determining that the overall quality of service levels at Australian airports dropped across the board in 2011 to 12. Bad news for the airports. And for more on their reaction, we'll cross live now to Nick Richardson, who is with Tullamarine Airport's management.
Happy times, Tom. These airport guys sure know how to celebrate. We're parting first class on a friggin' plane. Can I get another Mile High Club soda and gin?
They're celebrating? Nick, has airport management even read the report?
Oh, they have, and they're thrilled.
Why? It was damning. Overpricing, congestion, not to mention the parking.
Yeah, the parking. Tom, every hour, the airport has to schedule the launch of thousands of giant metal birds into the sky and get people on them with no drugs, no bombs, and no more than 100 mils of liquid. That's what airport management were worried they get complaints about. So when people instead complained about where they dumped their tiny, non-flying car, they feel they've done their job.
So are they planning on addressing any of these complaints?
I don't know. If you're complaining about parking your car, that's a you issue, not an us issue. It's an airport, Tom, not a ground port. Airport humour, Tom. These guys love it.
Okay, but you've got to admit that getting to the airport can be inconvenient for drivers.
Yeah, but it's still more convenient than driving to London. And if parking's a problem, just get a lift from a friend.
Yeah, okay, yes, that's what I said. Get a friend. I'll be your friend. Do you want to be my...
hang on. Sorry, Tom. I gotta go. It's my turn to sit in the captain's lap. Lift off!
Okay, chat to you later, Nick, for sure. Call me. Now, much of the ACCC's report relates to the direct feedback from passengers, with many complaining that our airports are seriously lagging behind those of other countries.
Look at Singapore, look at Hong Kong. It's very efficient, very smooth. Even Bangkok. I came back from Bangkok last week. No problem at all.
Well, why'd you come back to Australia then? If you love Hong Kong so much, why don't you marry it? Dave Ferrier, you're over in Hong Kong International right now. Is it really that much better?
I want to marry it, Tom. Hong Kong International Airport just had a $6.2 billion upgrade. And let me say, so far, this place has been an absolute delight. Do you want to have a look at some of my happy snaps?
Nope.
Okay, this is one of Hong Kong International's 4 majestic car parks. They have spaces for 3,000 cars, Tom. It's a real credit to the people of Hong Kong.
Okay, sure. But
and here is the world famous Terminal 1. At night, the lights on the roof and the sound of the travelator are a feast for the senses.
Sure they are.
And finally, take a look at their baggage trolleys. They are plentiful, their wheels are never wobbly, and the push-down brake thing release things on top, they always work.
Okay, David, but what about the transport into Hong Kong City?
I wouldn't know, Tom. I haven't left the airport.
You've been there for 3 weeks. Why wouldn't you leave?
Because the airport's too good, Tom. I'm trapped by the trappings of amazing service. Do you know how much it costs to park here? $2 an hour. I'd be crazy to take my car out with all the savings I'm making.
Okay, but what about getting fresh air?
Really? In Hong Kong, Tom? This air-conditioned lounge is way cleaner, and it never rains.
All right, then what about cultural experiences? You know, the reason for travel?
Sorted here in Terminal 1, Tom. All the exotic destinations are conveniently located on the departure board. Just think about how much time I'm saving by seeing them all here. You've got Jamaica, London, Geneva, all there, all day long. And the baggage trolleys, Tom, the baggage trolleys. If I leave here, I'll have to carry my bag on my shoulder like a chump. This place truly is a Shangri-La, Tom. A terrible, time-sucking Shangri-La.
All right, Dave Ferrier there, my best friend. Questions are being asked about black caviar after British racehorse trainer Roger Charlton took to Twitter to question the validity of her win at Royal Ascot last year, asking, was black caviar treated with anabolic steroids during her career? Who are you, Roger Charlton, to question the name of the greatest living Australian sportswoman that is also a horse? And on Twitter of all places, where Ms Caviar can't even respond to your allegations because she is a horse. Although, to be fair, as of this morning, it did appear that 4 of your 5 last retweets had come from horses. So is this just a smear campaign? Is Roger Charlton simply the Donald Trump of British horse racing? Is black caviar Kenyan? She's not called white caviar. We cross now to our reporter Clark Richards, who is with black caviar and, according to his resume, also a trained horse whisperer. Clark, how is black caviar feeling about these accusations?
Yep. Tom, this couldn't come at a worse time. Black Caviar finally steps out of the spotlight, ready to enjoy retirement. And then this Roger Charlton guy comes along, trying to tarnish her reputation. And it's had some disastrous effects. Some of the stallions are having second thoughts about sleeping with her. Nike are thinking of pulling her new range of Air Caviar horseshoes, and there are even talks that she'll never race again.
Because she's retired?
Yes, Tom. Sportswoman of the Year one day, and now this. I can only imagine the pressure that comes with that. Though, on the upside, the free publicity should boost sales of her autobiography, Black Caviar, The Horse of a Lifetime. Cavi tells me it's a tell-all tale. Tell all, Tom. And she didn't mention anything about anabolic steroids. The worst I could find was that she punched a few cones during dressage school.
Jesus. But given that the British Horse Racing Authority has refused to release Black Caviar's form relating to this issue, is there concern she might actually be guilty?
I'm sorry, Tom. You're going to have to wait till her tell-all interview with Oprah Winfrey. But what I can say is that if traces of performance-enhancing drugs are found in her system, then, unlike Lance Armstrong, she has the perfect denial of responsibility.
Oh, and what's that?
She's a horse.
And finally tonight, doctors and nurses at a Brisbane hospital are being told to stop criticising the Newman government in front of patients. And no, before you ask, hospitals have not become the new headquarters for the Queensland opposition. Instead, it's reported that some staff at Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital have been dealing with patients' complaints by instructing them to go to the Health Minister and complain to him. Yes, things have gotten so bad, people are now complaining about the complaints process. Staff have reportedly told patients that there's nothing that they're able to do with regard to staffing, access to care, and other issues, which are most likely the lack of Doritos in the vending machine and that lingering smell of death. Now, if we go to this chart, you'll see the current process where hospital patients complain to hospital staff, and then hospital staff tell the patients that they should actually complain to the Health Minister's office. But that complaint process passes through too many hands, and that's how diseases get spread. Plus, the Health Minister doesn't want to hear these complaints about the Health Minister. He needs his bed rest, you see, after all the stress of axing more than 2,700 jobs in the Queensland Health Department. So, what's being proposed instead is that hospital staff tell hospital patients they should instead complain to the hospital's consumer feedback process. Will they deal with the complaint? I don't know. But I do know they are working hard on my Dorito crisis. Ultimately, though, it's doctors and nurses that bear the brunt of complaints, and for more on how the Newman government's cuts to health funding have affected nurses, we'll cross to Seton K. Smith.
Can't talk now, Tom. The blame game is on.
And if you're just joining us, unfortunately, you just missed our Avoid round, where our contestants successfully avoided dealing with a patient's complaint. Our sickly patient Sean Maguire sought answers from a representative for Campbell Newman, a member of the health department, and a consumer feedback representative, but none of them were keen to deal with the complaint. Which means that complaint will land firmly on the shoulders of our final contestant, Nurse Cara. Nurse Cara, hello.
Hi, Mark. Hi.
Welcome to the show. Nurse Cara, which hospital do you work at?
The Royal Brisbane Women's Hospital in Brisbane.
Royal Brisbane, terrific. A big hello to our viewers up north. Now, Cara, the final round, how are you feeling?
I'm pretty nervous.
Don't be nervous, there's only people's lives on the line. Now, the name of the game is Deal With It. Tonight, you'll be playing to save Sean Maguire of Ipswich, who was run over by a car yesterday and is yet to receive medical treatment. Are you ready?
I guess so.
Start the clock! Now, Cara, without blaming the Newman government or using any of these words, deal with this complaint from Sean. Nurse, why do I need to wait 4 weeks for treatment?
Well,
Oh, that is a humdinger of a question. I'm glad it's you and not me.
the government.
Oh, watch yourself, Cara. Don't use those words.
Campbell Newman.
Maybe you're not allowed to use those words. Oh, quickly, Sean's fading. Without blaming the Newman government. Nurse, why do I need to wait 4 weeks for treatment? And your answer is?
It's my fault.
That's what the Queensland government wanted to hear. Congratulations, Nurse Cara. You've won the home edition of the Blame Game, and as our carryover champ, you've won the responsibility of answering those complaints again tomorrow.
And is Sean okay?
No, unfortunately, a correct answer cannot stop internal bleeding. The only thing that could have saved Sean was the equipment the hospital can't afford. Good night, everyone.
Sean's dead? Well, that does mean there's an opening now to be my second best friend. And if I'm being honest, my best friend. Good night.